Caitlin from Iowa recently arrived in Indianapolis. Not Caitlin in the WNBA. Not the methodical, careful Caitlin. Not Caitlin, who is heavily load-managed. Not Caitlin, the off-the-ball difference. We are discussing Caitlin from Iowa, the version that broke every significant scoring record in NCAA history, with a smile on her face, the version that threw an impossible no-look passes. Just because she felt like it, she boldly pulled up from the center court logo. The version that brought excitement, pleasure, and unpredictability to basketball for a whole nation. In the match against the Nigerian national team at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, Caitlin Clark looked just like that. And in just 12 minutes and 48 seconds, she demonstrated to everyone who was watching, evaluating, and criticizing why she is the most captivating player in women's basketball history. Check out her box score. 3 of 4 from the field, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, 75% shooting, 12 points, 4 assists, 1 steal, and a plus 1-2 rating during her time on the court. In less than 13 minutes of complete action, all of this was accomplished. The Women's National Basketball Association has precisely 7 days to get ready for the impending storm now that Iowa Caitlin is back. Tonight's events at Gainbridge Fieldhouse went beyond a pointless preseason victory over a superior opponent. It was an overwhelming, indisputable declaration of war.
Oh, we back. Oh, we back in action. We locked in, ready to go for this season, okay? Only reason I didn't go live is because I was getting all this together in the middle of my move. But Indiana Fever handle business the way you are supposed to when you are playing against a team that does not belong on the floor with you. When they don't belong out there, you are supposed to beat the hell out of them. And that's what Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever did to Nigeria.
Is greater than Nigeria 57. Indiana Fever 105. An incredible 8-point triumph. It was the WNBA preseason's most dominant performance from beginning to end. Each and every member of the Fever roster was involved in the slaughter. Tonight, every significant question that has loomed over this franchise for the past 3 weeks was addressed in the most forceful, violent manner imaginable. Does Caitlin Clark have good health and mobility? Indeed. Is Aliyah Boston prepared to participate? Indeed. Can Kelsey Mitchell recover from her catastrophic experience in Dallas? Indeed. Is the much-discussed bench depth genuine? Indeed. Is this team essentially prepared for the first night of play? Of course. Yes, without a doubt. When assessing championship prospects, every little detail counts. So allow me to guide you through exactly what transpired on the court tonight. When Clark emerged, his appearance was drastically altered. Not only is it different from the Nigerian game as a whole, but it's also different from every game she's played in an Indiana Fever uniform so far. Her movements were explosive and fluid. She was shooting with ease. Her transition passes were alarmingly accurate and exactly on time. Her body language made it clear. Her body was not on her mind. She wasn't thinking about the ankle scare she had against Dallas, nor was she defending herself. She wasn't carefully controlling her energy levels. She was having a blast. There was no denying the joy with which she was playing. She was performing precisely as head coach Stephanie White had stated she wanted to. White smartly sat her down because the game was already won after she scored 12 points on 75% shooting in less than 13 minutes as a direct result of her freedom. For the past 2 games, that shooting line has been utterly ridiculous and terrifying to opposing defenses. She made a very effective 4 of 6 for 21 points against Dallas. She scored 12 points by going 3 of 4 against Nigeria tonight. Over the last 2 competitive preseason games, that adds up to 7 of 10 from the field. 70%, or 7 out of 10. This comes from a player that struggled in her first game back, going 2 of 10 against the New York Liberty. There is no doubt that the rust has totally disappeared. She and Brandon Payne created brand new shooting mechanics that are fully locked in and working perfectly. The 3-point shooting percentage, which was at a pitiful 27% the previous season, is currently declining at a rate that would make Stephen Curry nod in agreement. Over the past 2 games, Clark has made 4 of 7 long-range shots. That is a three-point percentage of 57%. These aren't just blank gym photos either. These occur in games with actual, physical WNBA defenders and intricate defensive strategies intended specifically to prevent her. However, there is no discussion of what transpired when Clark was not on the floor in the mainstream media, because that's where the true backstory of tonight's triumph resides, my friends, is greater than.
Okay, I get hit in the face. Pardon. I get hit in the face. You know what I do? Drain a three. Bang, right there in your face. Right there in your face. Call the first foul, ref. Call the first foul, and that girl wouldn't have got her brains busted like that from 30. Okay, if you would have called the foul and not made her mad, that girl wouldn't have got embarrassed out there. Caitlin Clark put on a show, man. The MVP season is loading. Make no mistake about it.
Let's go back to the game against Dallas 5 days ago. In the second quarter, the Indiana Fever were outscored 36-7. Clark went to the bench to relax at that same moment. Under pressure, the bench totally collapsed. The crime was immediately eliminated. The floor spacing completely vanished. The world was cruelly made aware of the Fever's depth issue in this nightmare scenario. However, the bench did the exact opposite of collapsing against Nigeria tonight. In fact, they prolonged the advantage. In transition, they deliberately accelerated the pace. They make challenging shots. They tighten their defenses. With a very favorable +17 rating, Satori Walker-Kimbrough scored 5 points in 19 minutes. Jessica Timmons had a +11 and 3 points. In less than 12 minutes of action, Megan McConnell recorded a +11 rating with 3 significant steals and 3 assists. In comparison to the Nigerians starting, the bench was not only capable, but completely dominant. In every quarter of the match, the Fever scored more points than Nigeria. The enormous lead never decreased. The level of defense never decreased. That's precisely how a team performs at the championship level. However, this is the huge headline that completely alters the regular season's course. Officially, Aliyah Boston has returned.
Right there. Get it. That's it. She could have passed it to Satori Walker.
Checking in for Nigeria.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Get it. That's
Yeah. It's gonna be a long season for some people, man. It's gonna be a really, really long season for a lot of people, especially when Caitlin is cooking the way she been cooking. Pardon. When Caitlin been cooking the way she's cooking, it's gonna be a long season for a lot of people. Now, I'm gonna be honest. This is Ty Harris's return game. I'm good. No disrespect, mama. No disrespect, mama.
Don't misunderstand, and don't focus solely on the box score. The playing time was just 10 minutes. Only 4 points were scored in total. However, you learned everything there is to know about Aliyah Boston's enormous significance to this particular squad during just 10 minutes. She tied guard Raven Johnson, who played 16 minutes, for the team lead with an incredible 6 assists in 10 minutes of action. Boston was finding cutters diving to the rim with great skill. On precisely timed backdoor screens, she was striking Caitlin Clark. She was making high-intelligence plays from the post that are practically unattainable by anyone else on this team. She was a +21 inches 10 minutes of activity, which is the most significant statistic, +21 in 10 minutes. Without a question, that was the most influential 10 minutes any Fever player had during the preseason. Due to a lower leg injury she sustained during the unrivaled league, Boston missed the first 2 preseason games. Furthermore, it is clear that the Indiana Fever would be a far worse basketball club without Aliyah Boston. The pick-and-roll action is not the same without her. The rebounding figures drastically decline. The paint's defensive anchor has vanished. And everyone who witnessed the devastating Dallas defeat witnessed directly what happens to the entire structure when Boston is out of the lineup. The group disintegrated completely. However, as soon as Boston on the court tonight, the intricate system came together. All of a sudden, Clark had a dependable pass target in the paint. Boston's bone-crushing screens released Kelsey Mitchell from defenders, giving her a ton of room to play. Suddenly, there was a fearsome rim protector on the front court. In the post, the offense finally gained some momentum, drawing defenders inside and creating an open perimeter for shooters to exploit. Boston dominated without needing to score 20 points. All she had to do was be present on the court, and the team dynamic was entirely changed by her mere presence. Stay tuned, Toms, for this is the amazing story of Kelsey Mitchell's redemption that no one could have predicted would happen today. Mitchell finished with a -18 rating 5 days earlier after shooting a pitiful 4 of 12 against Dallas. Without a doubt, it was her poorest preseason effort. The league was quickly left wondering if the Supermax player would be reliable enough to be Caitlin Clark's long-term backcourt mate. The internet was merciless. The $1.4 million contract extension was being openly questioned by fans. And Kelsey Mitchell silenced all of those detractors tonight. 6 of 9 from the field, 3 of 3 from beyond the arc, 100% three-point shooting, 17 explosive points, and an incredible +28 plus-minus rating.
I'm kinda good with Raven Johnson getting your minutes. Hey, I know. I'm good with Raven Johnson taking over Ty Harris' minutes. Ty Harris 0 for 3 from the field, 0 of 2 from the floor. I don't think Ty Harris brings what Raven Johnson bringing to the floor defensively, the tenacity. I just think I would rather Raven Johnson get those backup minutes over Ty Harris. But you know, Stephanie White, experience trumps all.
That is the Kelsey Mitchell who scored more than 20 points a game on average during the previous campaign. That's the Kelsey Mitchell who was selected for the elite WNBA first team. The Kelsey Mitchell who received that Supermax contract is that one. Tonight, she returned, and she was deadly. When both players are playing well at the same time, the Mitchell and Clark backcourt is unquestionably the most dangerous, unguardable defend combination in the WNBA. This is exactly what WNBA Pro has been telling you since free agency started. Opportunities are created by Clark. They are converted by Mitchell. Clark kicks and drives the ball. Mitchell has a really quick release when he catches and shoots. Clark's historic gravity completely distorts the defense. For overcommitting, Mitchell penalizes the same defense. There isn't a single defensive strategy in this league that can stop the Indiana Fever offense when both of these superb guards are shooting more than 60% from the field in the same game. Every team on their schedule was terrified by what they saw tonight, which was the ultimate proof of concept. Then there comes Raven Johnson's disclosure. In just 16 minutes of action, the closely watched youngster scored 9 points on 3 of 6 shots, dished out 7 assists, and pulled down 6 rebounds. She received a +3 rating at the end. Johnson has now amassed 18 points, 18 assists, and 12 rebounds in 3 preseason games. In the preseason, she is quietly averaging 6 assists per game. As a rookie off the bench, he had 6 assists. The person who the internet said would ruin this team's chemistry is quietly emerging as one of its most prized assets. She has excellent perimeter defense. For her age, her passing eyesight is very advanced. With each game, her rapport with the seasoned players is clearly improving. Additionally, a fan base that was prepared to riot when her name was called on draft night has been fully won over by her obvious desire to accept her role and play within the established system. The deep parts kept shining. Once again, Michaela Timson was flawless from the field, going 5 of 5 for 12 points with an incredible +3.6 rating. Timson has made an incredible 8 of 9 shots from the field in the last 2 games. She is aggressively advocating for substantial regular season playing time. Dyrus Dantas scored 16 points and made 4 of 6 three-pointers, giving the Fever front court an unanticipated and extremely potent weapon for floor space. In the few minutes available, Monique Billings scored 7 points and was flawless at 3 of 3. Sophie Cunningham, who scored 8 points on 75% shooting and had an incredible +3.4 rating, was the ultimate enforcer. Each and every player who took the floor made a contribution. With the exception of Kiana Traylor, who received a slight -2, every player received a positive +- rating. That is how a whole team triumph from top to bottom is defined in textbooks. Before the regular season begins, here is the definitive preseason summary. First game versus the Liberty. Despite Clark's obvious rustiness, he only made 2 of 10 shots. The squad won 109-91, thanks only to their depth on the bench. Clark scored 21 points on an effective 4 of 6 in the second game against Dallas, but the club lost 95-80 as a result of the supporting cast's total collapse. Nigeria in the third game. At 3 of 4, Clark was mercilessly effective. Aliyah Boston came back to serve as the team's anchor. The team won 105-57 inches. A complete rout thanks to Kelsey Mitchell's fierce comeback is greater than pointers. You're unplayable, in my opinion. I still believe that you are simply unplayable from a defensive standpoint. However, Damiris Dantas had a strong performance. She took out shots. On 5 and 9, she scored 16 points. In 23 minutes, he made 4 of 6 three-pointers, grabbed 5 rebounds, and provided 3 assists. Therefore, it's encouraging to see Dantas establishing a rhythm, making some shots, and gaining confidence since the Indiana Fever will need it in the future. Now, Raven Johnson got 9.7 rebounds, and I think she'll be playing over Ty Harris. This franchise's trend is clearly upward. With each game, Clark improved and became more at ease. With each game, the team became stronger and more unified. With each game, the bench depth became more dependable and self-assured. The Indiana Fever are starting the regular season with tremendous momentum, flawless health, and a generational franchise player who appears ready to have the best season of her professional career. There are just 7 days left until opening night against the Dallas Wings on national television. Caitlin from Iowa has returned. Boston is in perfect health. Mitchell is loaded and locked in. Johnson is methodically disproving all of the detractors. The paint is being enforced by Cunningham. Timson is becoming well known. Additionally, the Indiana Fever's 4 8-point preseason annihilation just placed the whole WNBA on high alert. The Dallas Wings, ABC National Television, May 9. The much-awaited first night of the WNBA's historic 30th season. And right now, WNBA Pro is informing you that this club is prepared. This league is essentially unprepared for what is coming to leave Indianapolis, and this club is extremely dangerous. It's officially time to leave. WNBA Pro is this. If you want to be a part of what looks to be the most thrilling and historic Fever season in franchise history, hit the subscribe button right now. Leave a comment below with your best opening night prediction. Every single hot opinion is something I want to read. In 7 days, the games will truly count, and we will cover every perspective and every game throughout the season, so be sure to hit the notification bell. Stay locked with my channel Hook Reports for all basketball updates.